All right, you magical creatures. This is it. This is the most watched. There's like millions of universes out there, right? That we have like multiple, and probably I'm kind of guessing when I say it's probably the most watched podcast in all the universe. Like there's other podcasts here in the on Earth that are watched a lot, but as far as the universe, because we touch the universes, we're like we have these vibrations going on, everything, right?
Oh
All right,
yeah,
the great Johanna Gunez. Is that right?
Godinez.
Ah,
We're getting closer.
I'm getting better and better. Yeah. Again, Bay Lifestyle is your company.
Mm-hmm.
People get a hold of you. You do yoga, mental health, coaching, all that kind of stuff. We get a hold of you on Facebook and Instagram is the best way to get a hold of you.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, call me, 815-501-5070. Always happy to take your call and have a chat.
So we have on one side here, we have the bald guy with 2 divorces. And then we have the beautiful Puerto Rican princess with no divorces. And we were just touching on relationships and how people have. And there's another topic we want to get on, which I think is a great topic too. But I wanted to touch on this relationship thing, where people think that there's a lot of things like this that people think things are supposed to be a certain way. And in this case, it's relationships. Your relationship is somewhat unique to other people. It may not be unique to you, obviously, but where your husband Leo's traveling around a lot, you guys don't see each other as often. Maybe that's why you have a successful relationship, right? Seriously, I mean, people are around each other too much.
No, you know what? I think we're both very independent souls.
Yeah.
So the fact that like we're always doing our thing and then we get together and then we do our thing and then we get together, it just works for us.
Right. Yeah. And see, I think that's fascinating because it is true. There's so many people. It's like, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to meet each other. There's a pattern. You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to have children. You're supposed to live. Have the white picket fence. Retire. Work until you're 65. Retire. Put your pants up to your nipples and walk around, play golf. Right? God.
Yeah, that's definitely not me. We'll not have children. We'll probably never retire.
I know.
I live wherever I'm at any point in time. I don't necessarily have a full-time home, and I'm okay with all that.
Do you think legitimately there is a nurturing thing with women where do you think they actually have the nurturing thing and they need to have children, or they're told they need to have children? I guess it's there's some both, right?
I mean, I really don't know. I always joke around and say that this is one of my only lifetimes as a woman because I don't relate to women in a lot of those scenarios. Like ever since I was a child, I would always tell my parents, like, if you don't have another kid, you're never gonna have grandchildren because I'm not having kids. So I've always known that was like not a part of my journey somehow. And obviously, like you can't keep going if a race decides that women aren't gonna have children. So it can't be a normal thing. But I feel like I just don't have that in me. I don't know.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. So you're back in Puerto Rico from your journey. You were in Florida were you in Florida the whole time you were gone?
Yeah, I did a private 300-hour yoga immersion with a 61-year-old gentleman in Melbourne, and it was great.
Wow. A yoga immersion. So when I think of immersion, I'm in the kitchen cooking something. Like,
very, very immersive. So it's 30 days of talking about yoga morning to night, doing yoga physically, doing meditations.
Just with this one guy? Oh, wow. So what's the idea for him then once he's done this whole thing? Is he now a yoga instructor? Is that the idea?
Well, I mean, he took it as a teacher training, but no, he didn't get certified. He doesn't care about being a yoga teacher. He just wanted the knowledge to elevate his own lifestyle.
Had he been into yoga before this?
And about 3 years.
Oh, okay. And wanted to take it to a new level.
Yeah, because again, most people walk into the practice of yoga through the body. And once you start to understand that there's deeper aspects of it, like your mindset and your lifestyle, I think then people really want to learn more about that aspect. And that's harder to learn in a 60-minute yoga class in a studio because, I mean, the teacher's just leading you through poses. They're not really talking about like easing the fluctuations of your mind and all these other things. So yeah, it was intense.
That's a great point because I'm definitely like that. The more I've I'm going to guess like 10 years ago, I never would have thought that I think the way I think now. right? And the more it goes on, I learn more things, and I want to learn more things and more different ideas. You know, one of the biggest things
Yeah.
I've learned, you taught me this too, is you're good with this, is you have your very firm beliefs on life, death, the universe, vibrations, all that stuff. But you don't necessarily think everybody has to think that way. They don't think that way. They don't think that way, right? They can think that way.
I'm a firm believer that like everything points to the same thing, however you want to look at it. And I joke around that it's like if you blindfold a bunch of people and you put them next to different parts of an elephant, one is going to tell you it's like a brick wall, the other one's going to tell you that it's like a chain, the other one's going to, and it's just because the human mind doesn't have the
Right.
complexity to understand the greatness of what's happening in the universe. So
Right.
we all attempt to figure it out in any way that our own brains can. And obviously, you and I don't have the same knowledge, experience, or
Right.
understanding. So we can't look at it the same way. It's not
Right.
really possible.
Right. So it's funny because I see these videos where people have died for 2 minutes or whatever, and they they, in their mind, they've gone to heaven. They've seen Jesus. They've seen whatever they've seen. And in some cases, they've said they didn't want to come back. They wanted to stay wherever they were. It was beautiful, whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah. We don't know what happens after that, right?
I know.
That's always that unknown. It's
Because what
magic.
we've talked about more, like, and again, I've talked about this many times, but you told me, I understand it's like 7 years ago now, about the whole your spirit and your soul, and that we're just in this body. And then once we're done using the body, there really is, in your belief, I hope I'm saying this right, there really there is no death, really. It's just we move on.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you understand this world and from a scientific point of view, matter is neither created nor destroyed, so it's only transformed. So
Right.
obviously, then that stems to the point that that's the same thing that's going to happen to us. We're
Right.
neither created nor destroyed. We're just consistently being transformed.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to get into our topic of the day. And I like this. You were prepared. I texted you and you got back to me right away. Okay. So there's one word: allowing. Now, it's amazing the way this comes up today. Okay. So here's my example for the day. And we're going to work on old Tom's brain here. Okay.
Yes.
So it's a big project. Okay. So I live in a townhouse complex. We're assigned parking spots. At the time, so my parking spot is open right now. So somebody, I'm assuming it's some cleaning lady who's working out at someone's house, now has parked in my parking spot for the day. Now, I'm not using the parking spot anyways, but there's no question, and I'm being totally honest, I have this overwhelming thing. Okay, I need to educate them. This is my parking spot, and I'm not allowed. They should ask for my permission before they park in my parking spot. So I'm realizing myself, okay, Tom, settle down. You're not in the parking spot anyways. So what's the difference? No, my theory is that if I ever want to use it, if somebody's coming over, then I've got to get somebody out of my parking spot. Now, there'd be greater things going on in the world than worrying about that. Okay, so it was just amazing when you said allowing was the topic. Now you tell me when you bring up allowing as the topic of the day, what are you thinking when you say allowing?
Well, I mean, if you think about Carl Jung says, what we resist persists, right? And a lot of times things pop up in our life and we resist either how we feel about it or doing something or fixing something. And a lot of times we blame ourselves because we want to hold back whatever that is. And allowing is just letting what is be. It's a huge part of mindfulness. It's a huge part of being in the moment, not wanting things to be different than what they are, just allowing things to unfold the way they are unfolding. Because a lot of times we want to control how everything happens, and we don't have that. So allowing means that you're in the present with what's happening as it's happening, instead of attempting to control everything that happens around you, like someone parking in your parking
Right.
spot.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Right. So, all right. So I don't know I can't control it. I don't know where the person is. They parked the car. I can't do anything about it. So my mindset should immediately go to Tom. There's nothing you do about it anyway. So just let it go. Okay.
I mean, you can always write a little note and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, my name is
Okay.
Tom. This is
Okay.
my spot. It's
Thank
open
you.
sometimes.
So I'm
Just
very
call
proud of
me."
I'm very proud of myself. I took my business card with my number on it and my name, wrote on the back. I said, "This is my parking spot." I think I think it was pretty nice. Okay. Okay. But you don't want to let things happen. Like, you don't want to let people run over you and take advantage of you and just allow everything to happen to you. Right.
No, but the fact that that will happen sometimes, it's just part of life. But it's more allowing from the perspective of like what comes up for you. So, for example, you are in a situation where you're having a conversation and it's a serious conversation and emotions start to come up. And
Right.
we try to swallow the emotions down, allowing the emotion not to hurt another person, but just feeling the emotion and allowing the emotion to pass is part of what leads us to be able to actually manage those things instead of causing trauma to ourselves because we're storing all these things in our body and we're not releasing and not letting it go.
Right. Here's the thing too that's popped up, and I don't think it's just a male thing. It's male, but I think men that I talk to say it a lot. Where something's happening, doesn't it's maybe a relationship, business, whatever. They have these feelings, and then part of what happens is the men start doubting whether they should have the feelings or not. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, so in that case, you should just acknowledge, listen, the feeling's legitimate. I have feelings, and whether somebody else agrees with me having the feeling or not is irrelevant. I have the
Yeah.
feeling. It's
Yeah.
just what you do with that feeling. Right.
Exactly. Like a lot of times, for example, a feeling that you get towards someone else, it's
Right.
actually a mirror to something that's happening to you or that you're not looking at for yourself. So you get jealous at someone and instead of like being upset that you're jealous or whatever, you feel that feeling and then you wonder like why is that showing up? Right? So it's just creating a different relationship with the things that come up and instead of always trying to like snuff them out and put them down, it's just allowing them to happen because, we do a big disservice to our young children when we tell them, girls don't get mad and boys don't
Right.
cry. And we say all these things like, that's ridiculous. Girls do get mad and boys do cry. And there's nothing wrong with either of those things.
Right.
It's just how you show that and how you deal with it and how you approach. So if I get mad at you, I'm not going to scream at you, but I'm going to honor that I'm mad, but then I'm
Right.
going to question why is this making me mad? Right? So that you can start kind of going back to why are these things show up instead of just snuffing them out, putting them down, and then ignoring
Right.
that you're getting these feelings.
See, and I think jealousy is interesting. I think that's a major thing between couples where if you get jealous, it's like immediately, I'll speak to myself. If I get jealous, I'm thinking, okay, what am I jealous about? Why am I jealous? I'm doubting myself. Now I'm trying to have the conversation with the woman I'm with or whatever it is. And I'm thinking, I'm frustrated at myself that I'm jealous. Now I'm trying to have a conversation to explain myself to this other person. And it comes out totally wrong, right? The emotions get
Yeah.
going. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because like if you think about it, jealousy comes in relationships often with a lack of trust. But is the person earning that lack of trust, or is it you that have had issues when you've trusted other people in the past and are now putting that in that person? Right. So it's questioning these things so that you can get to know who you are and why you show up the way that you do
Right.
from a way that's going to help you kind of get over these things and move on with these things and feel these things and process these
Right.
things.
Okay.
I can promise you right now, if I was a jealous person, my relationship would never work
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're not together all the time. So,
Cool. Okay, so and this is great. I love this topic. So, being the man, I've lived a very colorful life and seen a lot of things. I'm sure you have as well. So, I've seen a lot of, and I know how men think. Right, if men are at a location, at a bar in particular, there's alcohol involved. Let's say my wife or my girlfriend's there, and she's dressed up nice. She's a beautiful, sexy woman. I'm thinking to myself, every guy in the place is going to be trying to jump her bones. Right? I mean, that's the way. That's most men. If they really allow themselves to tell the truth, that's the way they think. They think
Mhm.
my wife. I think my wife is beautiful. I think my girlfriend's beautiful. So every other guy is going to want her. So the jealousy
Mhm.
isn't necessary. And we'll argue. So I say I love this because it will argue that it's really not. I'm not jealous. I'm not doubting the woman. I know for a fact.
Doubting everybody else.
But yeah, and I'm not doubting anybody else because I know the way they are. It's not a matter of doubt; it's a matter of fact. That's right. So
Yeah, I mean, I think when alcohol's involved though, it
Yeah,
brings in another
yeah,
aspect, right? Because it changes how you process
right,
everything.
totally.
It inhibits your ability to process things
Yeah,
in a more balanced way.
right. That is interesting though. So, okay, so when you say allowing, then that's a big topic, right? So it's allowing yourself to feel the way you feel and try to figure out why you're feeling. Like you said, it's a mirror. There's a good saying you had there. What was it? Your
It's a mirror. Like most of the times when we're mad because someone's doing something, like we need it's a mirror it's showing us something that we need to learn about ourselves. And oftentimes we don't even think of it as that way. So it's kind of looking at, yoga. I love the practice of yoga because it helps you take responsibility for yourself.
right,
It's not about what somebody else did. It's why did I react this way to what somebody else did?
right,
It's never this situation is causing this. It's why am I allowing this situation to bring this up inside of me?
right,
Right? So you start to change kind of the questions that you ask, and you empower yourself, and you take responsibility for the things that you're feeling, the things that you're doing. Allowing also comes up, and for example, you have a new project and you're working on things happening, and things aren't working out the way that they should. So you're upset. Like, allow things to work the way that they need to work, because oftentimes there's some kinks that you may not realize that need to get
right,
worked out if this is really going to work the way that it has to. And because we want it to have control, we try not to allow those things to happen that way because we want them to happen the way that we want them to happen.
right.
And just allowing things to be teaches us so many lessons, about ourselves, about what we're doing, depending on the situation, of course.
So, but it's allowing also saying, okay, if I do get upset about something, I'm not necessarily wrong because I got upset.
Of
Right. Right.
course.
Yeah. I
Of
got
course.
like I'm a big thing on respect. I think when two people are having a conversation, in any setting, it's important to let the other person speak. You listen and really pay attention. Then once they speak, then you speak and not interrupt each other. Like I'm big on that. So if I've told somebody, and I've learned now to say to somebody, if they start doing it, I'll say, listen, this is a big thing with me. So I'm not picking on you, saying, I try to be very delicate the way I say it. And it's just, I would prefer that we really have a lot of respect for each other. I'll sit and listen intently. And then if it continues after that with the interrupting, I have learned not to get as much upset. It's just to stop talking to the person because I'm thinking I'm getting myself, I can feel myself getting upset because they're not communicating the way I'd like to communicate. So I'm not
Mhm.
necessarily wrong in that case, right? It's just that is how I feel.
No, it's just how you feel. And there's I mean, it's not that you're going to allow the anger to come and then tell someone off about it.
Right.
It's you're going to respect the fact that you're feeling this way. And you can even say something. You can be like, "Listen, I'm really enjoying our conversation except for the fact that like I'm attempting to speak and you keep cutting me off. And I've
Right.
already explained to you that that's something that doesn't allow me to have a good conversation. So
Right.
this is stirring something in me, so this conversation is over." And that's also allowing because you have your boundaries and you're honoring your
That was
boundaries.
beautiful. That was beautiful the way you said that. That was fantastic.
Oh,
See that?
I'm big on telling people off with a smile on my face in a way that
Yeah.
I'm not disrespecting
Right.
them, but this is the way it is. And again, that doesn't mean I'm right, right?
Right.
Because maybe what they're saying they deem more important than what I'm
Right.
saying, but it's just opening up for better understanding
Right.
between
But
two people.
there really is no right or wrong there. It's you. So again, you're allowing yourself to have your feelings, and you're not
Yeah.
going to. And why should I change that? You know what I like too is you touched on it about telling. And you kind of were a little joking around a little bit, but you said telling somebody off. I don't think it's as much telling somebody off. I think it's so much better instead of trying to explain so much. Just be totally direct. Say
Mhm.
like don't get into the whole explanation of why I don't want to be cut off. I said being it's just disrespectful to me and just get to the point and say it and then that's it, right?
Yeah, in mindful communication, the way that they explain it is you don't mention your emotion. You mention what's happening.
Uh,
So so like we're not having correct communication because every time I try to speak, you're speaking over me. I'm not even like, yes, that's leading to an emotion, but I'm talking about the situation instead of you're making me mad because you don't let me talk. Right. So that's personal. What I'm explaining is this is the situation. We are attempting to have a conversation, and every time I talk, you're cutting me off. Right. And now we're just stating something that's happening. not so much from my perspective, but just from an objective perspective. This
Right.
is what's happening. And that's an easier way to not trigger other people, like to think, oh, well, this person this or this person
Right.
that. Like they're
Well,
they're getting emotional over it.
yeah.
You just state the facts,
Yeah.
basically.
Is that like it's kind of like that gaslighting thing, right? Like they're because their emotions are going to get hurt as well, so they're going to try to make it sound like it's your fault instead of their fault, right? So instead
Hmm.
of like coming up with excuses and reasons, it's just factual. Like
Facts. This
yeah,
this is what's happening. I'm attempting to speak and you're speaking over me. So we're not able to have correct communication.
right. And like you
So
said
how
before, like in that case, like saying to them, "Listen, I enjoy our conversation. I love talking to you, but I can't really communicate with you if you're not allowing me to." Okay,
Yeah, like it's a two-way street. And if it's a one-way street, then there really isn't
I know,
communication. There's just a listener and a talker.
I know. You know what I learned? Navy SEALs I've hung around with are like that too. When they engage in a conversation with somebody, like they really intently listen. It doesn't matter if it's the president of the United States, the bus driver, whatever it is. If they say, "How are you doing today?" then you really notice it. Like they really dig in and they pay attention to how that person's doing. And I thought I'd learned from them. And I'm like, that's fantastic because there's nothing worse. Like somebody asks how you're doing, and then they're looking behind your back and checking everybody else out. And you're trying to tell them how you're doing. They've asked the question how you're doing, right?
Well, a difference is between asking that based on habit, just because
Yeah,
that's what you
yeah,
usually do. Oh, hi,
yeah,
how are you? Right?
yeah.
Like people say that and then they don't really care how you are.
Right.
Whereas if you're asking, like, because you actually genuinely want
Yeah.
to know how the person is, right?
Right.
So it's also understanding, like, how communication works. Like, if you ask
Yeah.
me how I am, then you're expecting me to
Right.
answer, right?
Yeah.
Not just because, oh, hey, how are you?
Right. Do you think during your journey with all this, with all the yoga, that you've really improved your communication?
I do. I feel like I'm a lot more present. Like before, I'd be a lot in my own head. I'm very ADD. So if I have something in my head that's like important, I anchor to that. And I can be looking at you and your mouth can be moving and I can be even saying yes, but I'm in my own head.
Oh,
So it took me a while to understand that I operated that way and kind
oh,
of really focus on like what is this person saying to me? And a part of that is being a part of the conversation, not just
right,
letting them talk away, but then acknowledging what they're saying. Oh, this made you feel this way, or oh, what I'm getting is this or that, right? So you
right.
summarize or you paraphrase or you ask questions that are gonna deepen what that person is speaking, to help keep that conversation a two-way street.
Right. I want to stay on this topic about allowing, but there's one thing. So let's say you have a friend. We might have talked about this before, and the friends. I know we've talked about this. The friend always is feeling comfortable coming to you and telling them their problems, and just venting to you, and you're
Mhm.
good at vent. You'll take the vent and you'll handle it well. But then when you need to vent, they've always want to interject and tell you a story about their life, right?
Mhm.
That's a tough one. Like, yeah,
That is a tough one because there's people that's just the way they communicate. Like
right.
it's the one-upping or the oh
Yeah,
that's not that bad or oh
yeah,
I've been through that,
yeah,
and when it comes to communication, those are some of the biggest blocks in communication because you end up minimizing somebody else's feelings or not feeling heard, right? So that's but yeah, and I mean you can also if they're really good friends, like I would tell them I'd be like, "Dude, come on, like you talk to me all the time and I'm always listening. Like I really need your ear today. Like I
oh,
really just need for you to listen to what I
but
have
okay,
going on."
great point. But if you have to say it, doesn't it kind of take something away from it though? That like you've had,
I mean, but if the person like if someone's like this all the time and no one's ever brought it up,
right?
like I mean,
Yeah, maybe they just
I'm,
didn't realize it. Yeah,
maybe they just don't realize it,
yeah,
and you bringing it up, and it may make them mad. And if it does, then good. Like it
yeah.
triggered something, and
Cool.
you look into that, right? Because I feel like also if we're feeling like, hey, I'm not being heard, but we keep it to ourselves, again, allowing, right? So I'm feeling like I'm not being heard. And again, you're not gonna say, well, why don't you ever listen to me, right? You're not gonna attack the person about it,
Right,
but you're just gonna bring up the facts, right? Every time you come talk to me, I'm there to listen to you. Today, I really just need to be heard.
right,
Can you just please just be an ear for me?
right,
And again, that's mentioning the situation, not how I'm feeling, not I'm pissed off because you're not listening to me, but I'm just saying this is the situation. I'm
Sure.
always there listening to you. Now I need your ear today, if that's okay. And of course you're not gonna attack them. You're not gonna, but you're gonna bring it up in a way that maybe it will trigger something in them to be like, hey, like I guess I'm not a very good listener, right?
You, you know what? I totally agree with you 1,000, 1,000,000%. But I got to tell you, like, that is such a hard thing to do. I don't know if it's a male thing or whatever. Like, for me to say to somebody, hey, I need you in any way. Oh, I know that's wrong. I know that's something.
Yeah, I mean, but a conversation takes two. You need the other
Yeah,
person. You
I know.
literally need the other person to be there in order to have that conversation. And I think, again, that's another thing that's been ingrained in us. Like you're
Yeah,
self-sufficient, you don't need anything, you don't need
yeah,
anyone. But that's not necessarily true, or we would all be just independent souls not really having communication with each other.
right.
Like we work much better in community. So oh, like that's a
Well,
whole
I
nother
know.
topic.
Oh, I know. Listen, I agree 100%. I'm not saying I'm right at all, but I got to tell you, like, I've gotten to the point where, like, I have tried, and I say try, probably didn't do it full justice, like, really giving it a solid effort. But like, I've tried to open up and talk about my feelings, or whatever it is, and it just seems like, actually, I was on like, I call it the midday march. So I work out in the morning and then go for a walk. And I was thinking, I try to think a lot while I'm out there, and I was thinking, like, we're being told, and I believe this is accurate, that we should now express our feelings, talk about our past, especially some new relationship, male, female, whatever it is, and really, especially the problem comes that once you do that, and now you've opened yourself up, where if there's ever an argument down the road or whatever, that information that you've shared with somebody very often comes back and stabs you in the heart. Right? It's just like,
Yeah, but that's just the immaturity of the other person,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
that shows you something about the other person
yeah,
because I mean, for example, I do a lot of work with inmates or people who are formerly incarcerated individuals,
right,
and I get to know a lot about their past, and I've had to learn that and I mean, I feel like my upbringing really helped me with this just because of the way my mom and dad raised me to see people and to get to know people. But
yeah,
like when I'm helping them start a new business, like I need to understand what they did in the past is their past. What they're doing now is the person who they are today, and it's the person that I'm helping, right? So if someone were to do that, then that shows you a lot about the character of that person
right,
more than it does about yourself, right?
yeah,
So and we can't really help that because the person's gonna be who they're gonna be.
yeah.
Allow them to be who they are.
And you're totally right. It's just, I guess, I don't know if it's a male. I'll just talk about me. It's not fair to talk about me. I feel like like I feel so intelligent about so much of my life, so proud, like proud of who I am. But there's some parts of it where I'm like, okay, I can't figure out who I should trust or not to tell, to tell about how I feel at all. It's just like I really I almost feel like my sons, I respect them so much. One's almost 35, one's 32. I don't do this because it's kind of weird. I almost feel like calling them up all the time and say, okay, what should I do here? Like, these are my sons.
But you know what? It's really good to have someone in your life
Yeah,
that you can trust at that level. Like I've always said, I have a lot of acquaintances, but I have
yeah,
a very short list of
yeah,
really good friends. But they're the kind of people that if I have anything going on, all I need to do is pick up the phone, and I know that
right,
I can be 100% my authentic self, and they're not gonna judge me, and they're not gonna tell my secrets or
right.
bring it up in the future when they're mad at
Sure.
me, and I think that having that tight knit what I call chosen family that you can trust is
Right.
really important because we do, I mean, come on, we're human, so
Sure.
yeah, in this life, like we're meant to go through some shit and to learn from it and to get through it and
Right.
to have someone, even if it's just to talk to them, like that's really, really powerful, to have that trust in another human.
Do you think they are aware that they're like that, or they're just naturally that type of people? Like, are they aware that, okay, Johanna's opening up to me, telling me these things? I need to be aware that I'm kind of locking that stuff down and never throwing it back in her face again, or is that just the people that they are? They just live their life that way.
Yeah, I feel like it's just people, like, again, like, once you're at a certain vibration, you start attracting a lot of people in that same vibration.
Yeah.
Like one of the best things in my life is that I don't need to be different with you than I am with my dad, that I am with my friends, that I am at work. Like, what you see is what you get 100% of the time. And I think that that also then opens it up for people to accept everything as it comes, because they
Right.
know what you are and who you are as
Right.
you are. And creating a community like that, again,
Right.
it's really
So people
important.
know now that if they're going to be in your life, this is the way the life is. You're not demanding anything from them, but this is the way I'm going to live. This is the world I'm going to live in. This is my
Hmm.
beliefs. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And again, that's really cool, because then it opens the door for them to feel the same way,
Right.
like that if they need someone to talk to, that they know that they can trust you.
Right.
And I feel like that reciprocity is super powerful when it comes to creating meaningful relationships with the people around you. Not necessarily love relationships, but just
Sure.
friendships. And again, most of my friends are like my family, because I don't have any brothers or sisters. So like, the universe has given me brothers and
Sure.
sisters,
Yeah.
and I think that that's really powerful to have that.
And sometimes you can be closer to somebody that's really not your brother or sister, right? Because there's all those family issues that now get involved in
Yeah,
there. Right? So,
absolutely.
all
Yeah.
right, going back to allowing. So
Hmm.
let's say you've got a good friend, they're going through a terrible time, and they're treating you in a way that you don't like, that actually hurts you. But you think to yourself, okay, I need to suck it up now with this person. I don't like what they're doing right now, but they need me to just keep my mouth shut. And do you allow that to happen in your life? You know, does that make sense?
I mean, there's a thing with communication about the right time, the right
Yeah.
way that
Yeah.
you say something, right? So in that moment, if the person's very vulnerable, you explaining that this doesn't serve you is not going to be
Right. Right.
taken well,
Yeah.
right? So maybe you finish that conversation and you let it cool off for a few days. But I'm big on bringing those things up and not
Okay.
keeping it inside, because that's going to affect their relationship and they're not even going to know why,
Right.
right? Because if they don't understand that they're making you feel a certain way, because
Right.
you're not letting your feelings or your thoughts being
Yeah.
shared, then you can't blame them then when they keep doing it afterwards, right?
Totally.
So a part of it is just knowing the right time and the right way to say it, where you're not, again, you're not attacking them. You're just stating things as they are, so
Right.
that it's easier for the person to see it from a point of view where they're not going to feel like, oh, look at what this person
Sure.
feels about me or is saying about me or whatever.
Right. Like you've got a girlfriend and she's married and her husband has just been terrible to her. So she wants to vent. So she calls you up and just rips into her husband for, like, it's a totally negative conversation for an hour. And she expects you to sit there and listen. And it's just dragging you down. That's just not the way you live your life. So,
Yeah.
okay. So in that case, maybe you can, I'll let it happen once, let her settle down. But then I'm going to call her back in a couple of days. Hopefully she could call you back and
Yeah.
apologize. That would be ideal. If not, then you call her up and say, listen, I'm here for you, but that was unacceptable, right?
Yeah.
You know, right,
And you really need to consider whether or not you want to be with your husband if this is how you feel.
right.
Like, because people get into situations and then they want to complain about them, but they won't get out of them. And that
I
to me is one of those things where in my brain that doesn't
I
compute.
know. I tell you what, that's one of the best lessons I've learned. Right. Well, many lessons I've learned. One of them where, especially people in a relationship, they're going to their friends and talking bad about the person they're in the relationship, because then all their friends now are thinking terrible things about this other person that you're married to or boyfriend or girlfriend with. Like, oh God. So,
Yeah, I'm big on I don't want to hear you talk negatively about somebody else, especially if I know them.
yeah.
Because I'm big on, like, just because I had an issue with someone doesn't mean that somebody else has an issue with them. And I'm huge, because I do have friends that I don't necessarily love those people, but I
Right.
won't be like, oh, I don't understand why you're friends with that person. That
Right.
person's this and that. It's like, I have my reasons for not wanting them in my life. Like, if you have your reasons for wanting them in yours, you need to figure that out. You're the one that's your relationship with them, not mine. But I'm not going to go out there and be like, well, I think they're this and this and this and that, and
Right.
I don't think you should be friends with them, right? Like, I don't talking about other people is
Wow,
a
wow.
low vibration. So
I know.
I
That's
don't want to be in that situation, and I tend to walk away and very politely be like, "Listen, I know this person, and if you're having a problem with them, I think that you should speak to them."
right. Yeah.
And I kind of
Totally.
try to leave it at that.
It-
Because I don't want to be a part of that.
I know the vibration thing, the vibration high low thing. I tell you what, I think I've always done it. I think I'm more aware now. Like there's a certain way I want to conduct my life. Like
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine who was um, leaving a position and was taking, and I knew that he was taking a new position. Uh, and my name was being bandied about to take his old position, but I wasn't going to go pursue that position until I knew that my friend now had totally moved on from that. Now it may have cost me the opportunity to get that job, but and he thanked me for it. I said, "Well, you don't have to thank me necessarily. I didn't do it just for you. I did it for myself. Like I wanted to live a certain way, and I'm not going to do that to
Yeah.
people." So that's that whole vibration thing, right? Like you control. I'm never talking about so we really control our vibration then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have tools to help us control it. We don't necessarily, if we operate from an unconscious and subconscious place all the time, then not necessarily. But if you're more aware of how your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your conversations lift you up and bring you down, then yes, you have a lot more
Well,
control than what
you
other people
know,
have.
okay, hold on. See, this show is supposed to be all about me, like in my ego and everything. And then when I get like stuff like this being posted, it's just you know,
Hi, Ellie.
is it Ellie? Is that what you say? Ellie, this show's supposed to all be about me and my ego. What are you like? You're telling me that you love? I'm not getting any love whatsoever. But I'm just teasing it. I'm kidding.
Oh, she's awesome.
This is a friend of yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
We met
Here,
actually through me being in podcasts and stuff,
oh,
so
nice,
yeah.
nice, very
Yeah.
cool. Where does she live?
I don't know, where do you
Oh,
live, Ellie? I don't
okay,
remember.
okay. Well, we actually get there. I'm asking personal questions.
New
I
York,
want your
maybe? I
exact,
don't know.
Ellie. I want your exact address, right? I want you to post your address right now. Here's a good buddy of ours, a veteran up in Buffalo, New York, has had some health issues lately. Johanna,
Hi,
he's a big fan of yours. I think Ron was a guy that mentioned that he's learned a lot of stuff from watching these podcasts, so it's that's a good thing. Finally out
I
of the
love it.
hospital.
That's why we do it, right? To share
Yeah,
some nuggets and to have conversations that maybe are harder to have.
yeah,
Like, and again, I've never said I know everything or I don't know anything, but there's a lot of things that aren't being talked about.
yeah,
Like our emotions are real. Like, why should we be suppressing them? It's like
right,
it's learning how to deal with them and to
right.
process them in a way that serves us and doesn't hurt other people. Like that's the important thing, and we don't speak enough about that, especially with men. Like, I mean,
Oh,
women are, oh, they are the PMSy, they're more emotional, blah blah blah, but no, men go through emotion just like
oh,
women
I know.
do. It's just that they do a better job of repressing it because they're told that they shouldn't feel
Yeah,
emotions,
well, and that's a great topic, and I've really caught on to this. I'm glad you brought that up. That, like we talked before, we want to, and I think it's happening where men are talking more. Like you talk about mental health,
Yeah.
suicide, all that kinds of stuff. That men, okay, they are, but there's still a lot of there. A vast majority of men are not talking. I mean, it's not. They hold in
Yeah.
all their feelings. It's not, and it's nobody's fault. I'm not blaming it, but I think it is more that male thought that no, I'm supposed to be the rock, especially a married
Yeah.
guy with family. I'm supposed to be in charge. I'm supposed to be. If somebody comes and asks me if I'm okay, I'm always okay because my family needs me to be okay. Like if I start saying no,
Yeah.
I'm not okay. Now my family's all like, what's going on? So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's generational as well. I feel like nowadays we're more open, so I feel like the younger generation is much more willing to share their emotions, and I
yeah,
feel like this is something that's going to continue to evolve as we keep evolving, right? Because think about, for example, how many men 40 years ago were homosexual and ended up getting married and having a family, and now they get divorced and they marry the man of their dreams, right? Because now
yeah,
that's a lot more open
yeah.
too. Back then that was a taboo. Now it's not a taboo anymore. So I mean, I feel as we start just being more open to accepting people as they are, I feel like a lot of this is going to continue to evolve into a
Yeah.
place where we can actually be honest with other people, with our feelings, without feeling like, oh, I'm going to hurt their feelings by sharing my feelings, which is just
Right. I've
Crazy.
been very fortunate. I do mean fortunate that the Rangers have had me do a lot of events at gay pride parades, gay, like they have a gay hockey association. And I've really, it's been interesting talking to particularly the men, the way they talk. And I say, I'll ask a question. I'll say, is it okay if I ask this question? Is it inappropriate? Or they say, no, Tom, you can ask. Like, they'll talk about like, this is when I came out, like you're somebody that's married before to a woman, has kids, and now goes, is with a man. And they'll say, yeah, this is when I came out, the date I came out and all this kind of stuff. And I say, okay, can I ask you that stuff? Is that appropriate? And like, yeah, it's good to learn that stuff, right? So yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's good that you asked because you don't want to make anyone feel bad, but you're just honestly curious, right? So
Yeah.
just by asking, is it okay if I ask this? You open the door for someone to literally be like, you know what, I'm not comfortable talking about this, or
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine, you know?
Yeah.
And again, I think that's a lot of what showing emotion is gonna end up looking like.
Yeah.
It's just when you're close to people, like there is an inherent permission. When you don't know someone, then you open the door. Is this okay? Is this not okay? And then we get on
Yeah.
the same page.
I was lucky enough to learn that years ago. I had a great teammate of mine, Mark Osborne, great guy. He great relationship with Jesus. He was a Christian, and but funny guy who didn't stop him from being one of the boys. You know, hold on, I just got to get this out here too. Ron, our guy up in Buffalo, had a hip replacement. Always play a part. All right, good. Emotions, yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
With
totally.
healing, like you can either be in the mindset of I'm suffering because of this condition, or you can be in the mindset of I'm healing and this is just a process for me to become a better person,
Yeah,
right? Like
totally.
our mindset really plays a role on our healing. Yeah,
Yeah.
San Diego. San Diego,
San
that's where
Diego.
she's from.
Very good. Yeah. We're gonna move the show. We're gonna go to Ellie's and have a show right there right in the beach there in San Diego.
Let's do it. Oh, I'll be
Yeah.
in New York. Maybe we can do a live one next time I'm in New York at the end of August at some
Oh
point.
yeah, okay. Yeah, we should go to the beach or something like that. We get Ellie to fly out here. We'll do a show. Um, so again, so this. Oh, hold on. I do have to get Ellie on here now because I was giving her a heart. Sorry, Tom Laidlaw. I love the show. All right, thank you. I'm fine now. My ego's good, Ellie. My ego's all fine. Thank you. Thank you very
He
much.
just the little pat in the back he
Yeah, I
needed.
totally. Yeah, just needed that gentle pat. Yeah. So this good friend of mine, this Mark Osborne, we sat beside each other, and I was when I'm in the locker room, just total smart ass. I'm giving it to everybody, joking around, picking on people, and everything. Now I learned through making other mistakes that I should go to him and ask him. So I took him aside privately. I said, Mark, are you okay if we joke around about Jesus and everything like that? If you're not, we won't. And this is just him and I having the conversation. He says, no, Tom, that'd be fun. You know, as long as I know that you're. So he appreciated that I'd come to him privately. So he'd come walk in the locker room and I'd go, Mark, praise the Lord. And everybody would be like, Tom, what are you doing, you idiots, y'all? But like to your point, I learned I sat down and, said, okay, this is what we're doing. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I love that. Again, it's just being on the same page is so powerful in a
Yeah.
conversation or
Yeah.
in any social situation, to know like where are the limits here that I can hit with someone and not make them feel like it's one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay. We'll go some questions here. Tom, if you were in Coldplay video, if you were in the Coldplay video, I know Mountain Dew lady. Oh, do you know the Coldplay video? You know what they're talking about? The big
I
thing here.
don't.
So Coldplay was in concert. This is a big story here in the U.S.
Oh,
now.
with the guy that got
Yeah.
caught cheating on his wife with the
Yeah.
woman in the
It is.
I saw a meme about it.
It's kind of weird how it's such a big story now. I mean, there was kids involved and all that, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a
But
big story because we're attempting to draw attention out of the things that matter into things that don't matter. That's why.
Exactly.
But we won't go there.
Oh God, that's a whole other subject. I tell you, we should do a show on that. But people
No,
just, yeah, I know, because it'd be painful.
it'll push way too many buttons.
Oh, no kidding, right? Oh, God, that is a topic. It's like the more I've learned, the more I realize I'm not paying attention to anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
What if our boy here, Dougie DeVito, has to say, guys, we'll talk to their best friends about problems, and that's about it. That is, yeah. So I guess.
But having that best friend to talk to is really important,
Right.
even if it's the one person, right?
Right.
Because just being able to get it out, it's what's important. I mean, I'm not
Do
saying that
you
I'm
think,
just going to air my laundry out to the world,
right.
but having a few people, yeah, that's
Right.
powerful.
Do you think it's changed? Do you think it's about men? Well, not just men, but men and women, particularly men, talking about their feelings more? Do you think men have always talked about their feelings and now it's just coming out more that they're doing it? Or do you think it's actually evolving more where men are actually talking about their feelings more?
I think it's evolving more. Like I think there is a like more permission. I don't know if that's the right way of thinking about it, but like I feel like it's more accepted, so people feel like they have permission to be more honest with their feelings, which I think is really important because again, when you hide your feelings long enough, at some point something's got to give, something's going to
Yeah.
bubble up. Like that's a reason why sometimes like you have a little issue with someone but you don't say anything, and then you swallow that, and then out of nowhere they'll do the stupidest thing and you'll just blow up,
Yeah.
and it's not because of the one thing, it's because of all this other stuff that you've been
I know.
repressing, and now it's like that one thing was the one drop that made
Yeah.
the cup spill, and now everything comes out, right? So the more that we get those things out, the less that we cause those situations where like you don't like something about someone and they keep doing it. Okay, but they don't know that you don't like that they're doing it. So how are they supposed to fix it or
Right.
even attempt to do something about it, you know?
Okay. So here's the good one then. So, okay. So in that case, somebody's doing something wrong. You've been good friends with this person for years. They're doing something you don't like. A lot of times with men, they'll just say, okay, I'm not explaining myself. I'm just going to walk away. I don't want to have a confrontation. So I'm just not going to talk to this person anymore. Now, that person could have been a very good friend in that man's life. But instead of having a conversation and trying to explain himself, he just walks away. I
Yeah.
guess. So,
I mean, I'm big on like there's there's certain things that I'm willing to accept.
right.
But then if like something goes beyond that boundary, I don't even care for you to explain yourself. Like I'm
Right.
good.
Right.
Like I'm big on cutting people out of my
Yeah.
life after like if I understand that again, it's about vibration. If I'm at a different vibration than you are and I'm attempting to have a conversation with you and you're not budging, like I'm huge on being like, okay, you
Right.
know, I love you, I wish you the best, but I don't need this.
Right. So
But I
you'll actually say,
definitely
sorry,
go ahead.
I interrupted. I apologize. That was very
Go ahead.
disrespectful. But so you're big on like actually saying to the person, like without getting into a big explanation, say, listen, my vibration or whatever, however you want to say it, just isn't working. I'm really done with our conversation. Okay.
Mhm. Oh god, yeah, and happily. And we'll
Right.
never talk to you again and will not regret 1 second of it. However, if I do just stop talking to you without like if you're someone that's really important in my life, I'm going to do what I can to get us on the same page. But if there's something that you're doing that I feel is something about your character that you're not going to change and that it's disrespecting me, I don't want that in my life. Like
Okay.
I'm yeah. You know, I have limited time in this planet.
Yeah.
Life happens in a blink of an eye. I'm not wasting my time and my energy with people that don't appreciate it and don't
Right.
reciprocate it.
And you don't necessarily have to be mad at that person or hate them or anything.
No,
Just move on.
never. No, I send you the best, but we're just
Right.
not up to par, and that's fine. Like
Right.
I actually lately that's happened with a couple people where I thought that they were meaningful in my life and then something happened and I saw a side of them that
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't accept people like this in my life.
I
And so
know.
it's like, oh, I wish you the best, but there's the door on your
Okay,
left.
but okay. So now we get into a new thing. So, do you ever say? I will start by saying I do this sometimes. So, if some person has been in my life for many years, and then I see them in a whole different way, and I'm thinking, like, was I stupid? Like, why couldn't I see this before? Like, I
You
would
weren't
almost,
ready to.
yeah, yeah.
I also don't do that though.
What?
Like
Blame yourself?
yeah, like keep start blaming yourself because like having a realization about something, like I'm actually grateful that I had the realization and I can move on.
Sure.
So I'm not gonna beat myself up because I put up with it in the past or I did whatever
Yeah.
in the past. Like I'm not big on looking back except to ask how did I get to this point so that
Yeah.
maybe I learned something about it, but not to kick myself in the ass
Yeah.
because there's nothing you can do to change what you accepted or didn't accept, what you did or didn't do. But if it's hurting you and you're suffering in some way, then you can ask, like, how did I allow this to get to this point? What
Yeah.
can I learn about myself? Like, where did I not draw boundaries or where did I accept something that I'm actually not really
Yeah.
like accepting of, right? Because it's too easy for us to look back and regret and be upset, or
Yeah.
and that doesn't serve anybody.
See, excuse me, but that is a good point. And that's, I think what I've done is where, like, if there's a friend where I can think of one right now that I've been a friend for many years, and I've now just eliminated because now I've seen him totally differently. There was part of me now probably regretted, like, oh God, why did I hang around with him? Like, some of the decisions I made, some of the things maybe I lost out on. But then I also look and say, okay, that's a learning lesson. Like you said, I've learned a lesson,
Yeah.
right? Don't let anybody. First of all, don't let anybody else sway or change what the dreams or goals that you have,
Yeah.
right? Because like maybe this person came into my life when many years ago where I had these big dreams and goals, and I still accomplished some of the stuff. But I think, and I've learned too, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. I can't even blame them because at the end of the day, I am my own boss, right? I can't blame
Mhm.
everybody else for things that don't go my way. Yeah,
Yeah, and if anything, be grateful. Be
yeah,
grateful because you learned a lesson because that person was in your life. Like
yeah,
I just broke a friendship of 10 years with someone because I realized like I've been supporting her in her journey, and the one time that she could have supported me in mine, she took it as something that would have been against her. And the second that I saw that, I was like, okay, this is a one-way street,
yeah,
and I don't want that in my life.
yeah.
And again, I wish her the best. I wish her all the success and all, but I will not be a part of that anymore, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm
So
over it.
you and I are brothers and sisters because that's the exact same kind of situation. I realized it was all for this other person. And
Yeah.
whenever it came to make a decision, okay, am I going to help this person? I'm going to help Tom. It was always about him the whole time.
Hmm.
And I look
Yeah.
back and that happened. And I realized that, like, all the situations over like 40 years. And I realized, yeah, it's always been about him.
But to be honest, like I'm always grateful for that because I'm like, okay, well, I put up with it for this amount of time, but thanks to my recognizing this today means that
Yeah,
I don't get to waste one more second
yeah,
of my
yeah,
energy.
yeah. Very true.
And I'm good with that because it's also a way for us to be able to let it go with love and forgiveness and acceptance. Again, allowing it to
Yeah,
just be what it is.
yeah.
Because going back and feeling guilty or saying, "Oh, I wish I would have known this before," or any of that, like that's not necessarily going to serve anyone.
Totally. If Ron or anybody else wants to get a hold of you, you don't have particular business hours, do you?
Nah, I'm always if just write me, if I call me, and if I don't answer, just write me, and when I'm on my phone, I'll get back to you because I don't always have my phone with me. Like last night, someone was supposed to come over at 5:30, and I put down my phone at 3 o'clock, and I didn't look at it until 9, and then I was like, "Oh my God, I totally missed their call," and I was like, "You should have just shown up."
There was a great question here. I wish somebody. I trying to get it back up here. Um, where is it here? So transcranial meditation. Have you heard of that? I hope I read it right.
Transcendental meditation.
Maybe that's what it is. Transcendental meditation. Have
Yeah,
you?
I've never heard of transcranial
Yeah,
meditation.
I just made that. No,
Transcendental
I made that up.
meditation. Yeah, TM is a Swami. So TM is a type of meditation that is an individual meditation. It isn't like a group thing. It isn't a led thing. Like you go to a TM certified teacher and they give you specific mantras and breathing techniques that you do as an individual, and usually you do it for 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening. But you have to go, if you go to TM, Transcendental Meditation website, you can search teachers in your area, because that's very specific. It's the same with Kundalini. Like I would never go to a group Kundalini yoga class because awakening your Kundalini is individual for you. It doesn't, it's not what everyone can do together. One thing is chakras healing, and another thing is Kundalini awakening. And you can heal chakras in a group, like sound healing or doing some meditations that where you view your chakras. But when it comes to Kundalini awakening, it's very specific to where each person is on their journey. And TM is that way. Like Cameron Diaz, for example, she's a big TM
Oh,
practitioner. She swears by it. So yeah, TM is very powerful. Just make sure that you're finding a qualified teacher and know that this is not something that you do in a group setting. So if somebody
right.
says we're going to a TM class, like call BS on that and don't show up because that's not how it's meant to be done.
Okay.
Like I would never tell someone practice that with me because that's not really something
Cool. Okay.
that I'm certified on. Yeah.
Your intuition
Yes.
guides you in understanding everything, paying attention to every detail. Your intuition.
Yeah, and that's why it's important again to not be having conversations in your mind all the time. Because that's when you can feel that intuition guiding you. If you're always just jabbering to yourself in your head about meaningless stuff, when that gut feeling kicks in, or like in a conversation when like the vibration just isn't matching, like you can feel that. But
Yeah.
if you're having a conversation with yourself all the time, then you're not going to
What do you
feel
mean?
that.
So if you're doubting yourself, like if there's a project to do or something and you're doubting
Um,
with,
it can be anything. So it can be like you're in the middle of a conversation and the person says something, and instead of you being present with the conversation and continuing to listen, like you start judging the person or thinking about something they said so you can answer them. Now you're disconnected with what is actually happening. And your intuition can only guide you when you're present with it. And when we're all the time thinking about the past, trying to foresee the future, regretting things that you did, replaying conversations in your mind, thinking how things should be different than they are. Anytime you're having that like train of thought, which happens to a lot of people day after day after day after day, because they don't realize like they can actually do something about that.
right?
Then it's harder for you to really just listen to the intuition because you're just blabbering to yourself all the time in your head.
That's an interesting topic. So you're you got so many, if you get so many thoughts going on in your head, like you said, worrying about the past or whatever, instead of just focusing on, okay, this is where I'm at today. This is what I'm going to do. Right.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's insane how that changes everything about everything.
But
Because
then,
when you're consistently thinking about the past, like the past is gone. There's
right.
nothing about the past present except your memory of it. And
Right.
when you're always there, you're literally missing everything that's happening right now.
Okay. But you're a human being. Things have happened to you in the past. You
Am I
can't.
though? No.
What's that?
Am I though? Am I an alien? I think I'm
Oh,
an
you could be.
alien.
You could be actually. Yeah. So you're the Puerto Rican princess, yeah. So, but you're only human. Like thoughts will come in your mind. You can't totally stop those thoughts, right? So it's
Mhm.
like thoughts come in and thoughts come out kind of mentality. Like you just don't dwell on those thoughts.
So meditation, which is a part of yoga, what
Right.
it teaches you is to become the observer of your thoughts. Becoming the observer means the mind is a thinking machine. So thoughts are going to just bloop, bloop,
Right.
bloop. But if every time a thought comes, you start talking to it, giving it conversation, that gives thoughts a lot of power, which
Right.
then infuses emotion to those thoughts. Whereas becoming the observer just means you see the thought go by, but you don't necessarily believe it or accept it or have a conversation with it or let it emotionally affect you because you're not just chatting with the thought.
But that's easier said than done, though, right? I mean, you got to work on that, right?
Practice. That's where
Okay.
the practice is.
So
Yeah.
that's where the yoga comes in, right? So again, this is where people, and I know this is so basic to you, but a lot of people just look at yoga as the stretching, right? You
Yeah.
hot yoga, put the tight pants on, and go stretching.
Yeah.
It's much more than that's where it's the okay.
Yeah, it's sad that yoga's been minimized to that because yoga is one of the most powerful ways of living that exists to this day, and
Right.
it's been around since the dawn of the universe. And
But
it's like now we think it's just doing these things
I
with our
know.
bodies, and
Well, it's amazing since
yeah.
you've taught me more about it because I would think that probably, I don't know, 95% of the people that do yoga just go to a yoga class to
Hmm.
stretch, right?
Yeah.
That's what they,
Yeah.
and everything, there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but they're missing the whole point of what yoga really is.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong of what got you in the door, but
Right.
if you stop at this physical practice, what happens when you break your foot? Like
Right.
what is it going to do for you? Meanwhile, like yoga is something that can do something for you at every single moment of every single minute of your life if you understand me. And also even meditation, like people think I need to stop thinking. Meditation is never going to ask you to stop thinking. What it's
Right.
going to ask you is to not attach to your thoughts and have conversations with
Right.
them, to be able to, again, become the observer. Because yoga believes that you are the observer. You are not the mind. You are not the body. You are not the layers that create the human in this experience. You are the observer behind everything that's happening. And that observer is part of everything. It's the Atman, and the everything is the Brahman. And the Atman is a part of Brahman. So you are a part of source and you are a part of universal consciousness. You
Right.
just have this like fractal view of what this one human is doing in this experience.
See, that's the biggest thing that I'm learning and that people need to get aware of is that this whole thought that we are this body, right? It's really
Oof.
not. The other thing is too, I saw a video the other day where they're saying people think, well, you don't choose to get born. And the thought is, no, you do. You actually choose your parents,
Yeah.
right? Because you're this being, this soul that's outside, and you're watching this whole thing happen. Like, do you really believe that?
Yeah. And it's not just you. Well, if you believe like in anything about Hindu religion, like it's not just you, it's also the karma. It's also the energy that you have that your soul has acquired from the past lives that you've lived, if you
Right.
believe in reincarnation, right? I'm not saying you have to, but so it's yeah,
But
it's
okay, so
everything.
I'm sorry. So, but it isn't necessarily reincarnation, right? It's more like your soul is constantly out there. It's in multiple universes. It just happens to be in this body right now.
Mhm.
What I thought was fascinating too, and I read was where they said how this time that we're in the body, we're just using this to learn that you've learned things. Then once
This
you
is
know,
Earth School.
this is what
Earth School.
you're at school. Is it? Well, I'm at school for sure because I'm telling you, when I learned this stuff, I'm going, well, yeah, like so. I'm just here learning things now. This whatever happens, just body now. We stop using it now. I move on to someplace else. So all the things I've learned while being in this body, I now move on to something else.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it's we don't know if that's the case or not, right? We're never going to be able to prove
Right.
any of that.
Yes.
But
Right.
the fact of the matter is it gives us a different relationship with death when we think this way.
Right.
And it's a relationship that serves us a lot more than thinking we lost something and it's gone for good and
Yeah.
somehow that's a negative thing.
Right.
Whereas when you think of like you're just transcending this
Right.
experience, it just brings a lightness to death, makes it
So
less serious, less suffering.
right, there really, and the reality is, really is no death. Really, I mean, the body stops working. We call it death, but it's just moving on.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
See, I think that's more because we're so conditioned. There's so many things. We go on for this forever. There's so many things that we're conditioned to believe,
yeah.
such as we've talked to this: the sun rising and setting. And I say that to people, and they go, "Well, yeah, the sun." Well, no, it doesn't. And people logically know that the
The
sun.
earth is
Yeah, the Earth revolves around the sun. But we've just
yeah.
been conditioned to believe. We talked about this before. All these things that were, and it's the same thing with death. We're conditioned to believe that
Yeah.
again, there really is no death.
Well,
Right?
even in my life, like people are like, oh, because Monday through Friday, Saturday
Yeah.
and Sunday. I'm like, I just worked for a whole month
Yeah.
straight. I didn't
Yeah.
have Monday through Friday, and now I have a week off, and now I work another 3 weeks, and then I have another week off, and then I work for a month, and
Right.
then I have 2 weeks off. Like, it's just like you either once you start just doubting how society has created things and not
Right.
not doubting it but questioning it and
Right.
understanding like does it serve you, because a lot of the things that society says like don't serve me in any way, so I decided that I'm going to just like make up what my reality and what my life is going to
Yeah.
be like, and I'm a much happier person for it. Like I'm never going to wait till I'm 50 to do the things that I want to do till I'm
Sure.
retired and all this. Like those are all just social conditionings. And if you start like seeing things for what they are, someone decided it should be this way and everyone
Yeah.
believed that. We've
Yeah.
talked about why are there 12 months? There could be 13
Yeah.
with the exact
Sure.
number of days that are needed. So,
Yeah.
I mean, someone just decided that and
Yeah.
everyone's just going along with it. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It is true. Like, and I've been lucky, I guess, in that for some reason I've done things that, like, when I was a National Hockey League player, I went to truck driving school. Well, I look back. So when I was doing it, I don't know, I was just a goofball. Then I thought after, I said, no, that's pretty cool. I mean, I just didn't want to listen to what everybody else said. I'm going to go do what I want to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's fun.
Yeah. Danny Harrison has a fantastic daughter who's Took her to see a live car over the weekend. It was a magical because my daughter hung on every word and note.
Yes.
It's magical for that. I love it. Good job, Danny.
Oh,
Great
I
job.
love that, Danny.
Yeah,
I'm glad you guys
yeah.
enjoyed that.
He's a good father. His
Yeah.
daughter, I think we've talked about this before. His daughter does this fantastic artwork and everything, that very creative stuff. So,
Yeah.
wow.
They say autistic children have one leg in this life and another one in the evolved life. And where the whole universe is evolving to and the planet is evolving to, which is we come with these really specific gifts. And that's what we're meant to share to be like successful members of society.
Right, right,
So it's intense, like how your mindset can make
right.
meaning out of something
So
and
instead of
make it
looking
serve you
at
or not serve
right,
you.
so instead of looking at an autistic child having a disability, it's not a disability at all, right? It's a
No.
gift. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And of course it's hard for the parents of autistic children because we're not used to dealing with people that are just evolved in a different way than we're used to, right? But yeah, there's a book that I'm gonna see if I can find it, and if I can find it, I'll send
Okay.
you the
Okay.
name of the book and
Very cool.
yeah.
Um, See, that's so like you mentioned you being ADD, but you don't take medication for being. You
I
just
used to.
oh, okay, okay.
Oh
So this
yeah,
is
when I was a kid, before 6th grade, my parents got called in by the school and were told if you don't medicate your daughter, she's not allowed to be in this school.
see that man.
I was intense.
See,
And
but
even
that's
even in college, I used to take Adderall to help me concentrate and stuff. Once I
and,
finished my MBA, though, I never did again.
and think of all the kids that are out there right now that are lively or whatever it is, but they don't fit into this little box everybody wants, and they just medicate them.
Yeah.
Man, that's
I mean,
awesome.
I'm telling you, I am grateful for my ADD because it's what allows me to live the way that I live in and be
Right,
so focused when I need to be focused in the things that I'm creating. Because
right,
whereas ADD means that you can't focus on things that you're not interested in, it also means that you can't unfocus for things that you are interested in.
right.
So it like you again, everything can be seen from whatever light, but does it serve you to look at it from that light or not? And for me, it's been a blessing. I love the fact that I have ADD.
So it's almost semantics, but do you think they should remove the last D and just call it attention deficit? No, not even a deficit. Like it's not something because both those terms are a negative.
That's the thing. And it's not a disorder. Like
Right,
I'm ADHD too. Like I have 8 out of 9 markers for ADHD and 6 out of 9 markers for ADD.
right. So it's like it's painted with such a negative picture where it shouldn't be. It's like, okay, this is just the way you are. There's nothing negative about the way
No,
you are.
and learning disorders. Like
Yeah,
you're telling someone that they have a learning disorder just because they can't learn the way that you're teaching them. Okay, but what if they're a hands-on learner? What?
yeah.
So what's the disorder? The fact that they
I
can't
know.
learn the way their brain doesn't process things the way you're showing them? Like,
Right.
oh, no, but now that's something
And a
wrong.
lot of that comes from, and not to pick on teachers, because teachers do some fantastic things, but it's easier to just medicate a child, right? As opposed to
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of teachers, I mean, they're not prepared to deal with students like that. They have a classroom with 30 students
yeah,
and the one
right,
student that they can't control. So that's taking energy and attention away. But I mean, that comes down to the fact that the education system hasn't evolved in the
yeah,
past
yeah.
like 80 years or whatever it's been. So it's like I feel like that's really where the main issue lies. Like it's never I mean, I can't say never, but it's not the teacher's fault.
Right,
It's the fact that we are not looking at people as individuals and deciding, like, how do I teach this person to the best of their abilities?
right.
We are saying this is the best way to teach, and every student needs to figure out how
I
to
know.
learn from
God,
this method. And
it's
that's
amazing, right? How like it's just they're really not teaching them any skills. It's almost like they're just putting them into a box and saying, okay, this is okay. We want you to work 9 to 5, work till you're 65. That whole same thing, man.
control, baby, control.
It's a good thing
That's
that
another conversation.
see. I used to think I was just a total mutthead because I never listened to any teachers, never did anything. I'm realizing now, yeah, I was ahead of the curve. I was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not listening to you. I don't want to listen to you. Yeah,
Yeah, the thing is, like, people like us, when we grow up, we are super like on point individuals because we were rebels when we were children,
Oh,
right? Like I
oh,
was a rebel. I questioned everything.
oh,
And that's not good for a child to be doing that. But now as an adult, like the
yeah,
reason why I am the way I am is because I grew up questioning all of these things that people just took for reality. I was
yeah.
like, no, this doesn't seem right to me. And so I'm grateful that I was a rebel without a cause.
I know. And you look at some of the people that have done great things in the world. Like this is so trivial. I know it's trivial, but there's a great player. This Bobby Orr was a great player, and he kind of revolutionized the game. Like defenseman back when I played, and before that, you're supposed to hit people and punch people in the head. He became this great offensive player, and he wrote in his book that if he was a great team player and everything, but if he'd listened to every coach tell him what to do, he never would have became who he was because they would have just stifled his talent.
Yeah.
And I think that happens to a lot of kids,
I
and that's
mean, when we think about all the new things that come out,
yeah.
someone had to
Yeah.
decide that they weren't going to follow what was happening in order to create this new thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like it is how evolution happens. It's when someone decides, wait, no, what's happening right now, there has to be a different way to do this.
Yeah.
And they step out of the mold and they create
Yeah.
something new. Like you almost have to be a rebel to
Yeah.
be able to create and revolutionize something.
Like sometimes I look at Elon Musk and I'm going, man, that guy's a nutcase. But then I'm looking and going, he's brilliant. Look at this, what you're saying. If Elon
He's
Musk,
autistic too.
yeah, I know. Yeah. And I'm thinking, yeah. And the stuff he comes up with, because you can tell he's thinking. I saw him get interviewed one time and somebody brought up some point about helping, I don't know, people in some ways. He's going, and you can tell he's thinking, he goes, I never thought of that. We're going to have to work on that. Like his immediate thought was, okay, I'm going to find a solution to this problem. And again, he's worth $400 billion already. It's not like he needs the money. Like he just likes solving these problems, right? So, yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I love like that he decides he wants to work on something and
Oh,
nothing
yeah,
can stop him. Like he's just like, ah, and it doesn't matter what anybody says, what
yeah,
anybody does. Like
yeah,
he's gonna do what he wants to do, and if he decides he doesn't want to do it anymore, he's not gonna do
yeah,
it anymore. And I mean, I don't know anything about him as a person. I've never
right.
followed him, but I do admire how much he's being
Oh,
able
yeah,
to accomplish in his
totally.
life. Like whether you think he's a good, bad, ugly,
Yeah,
whatever, if you look at his accomplishments, holy bejesus, he's been able to
yeah.
do a lot in this
Like all
short
the
life.
rocket ships and all this kinds of stuff, and it's just like
Yeah.
bringing the rocket ship back from space and landing it. They've never,
Mhm.
NASA and all the billions of dollars we spent on NASA before. I don't think they even thought of that in the past, and he's done it. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. All right. What do we got going here, other boy Danny? We'll get going here soon. The strange thing about my daughter is if Tom and Johanna gave her a reason, they said we'd do on the test. If I gave her the test, she would tell me that she didn't know anything on the test. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's also a thing with children and parents, right? Where
Yeah.
like sometimes the parent can't get them to do something and
Yeah.
then some total stranger will ask them and they'll do it. So
Absolutely.
that's also just how certain people like
Oh, yeah.
operate in terms of their family relations.
I think most kids are like that with their parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
My son's the way I played in the NHL for 11 years. My son was playing. I was trying to show him one day. He was a goalie, and I kept trying to teach him this thing over and over, a simple thing. It was kind of a metaphor for life. And he never would do it. He kind of looked at me like, get lost. And then we're out in the ice one day, and some random coach, some guy came along and told him the same thing that I told him for years, and he did it just because this random coach came on. And I'm like, oh, God. Yeah. Hey, this was a great conversation. I like this a lot. Good stuff. I like the fact that we come up now, and you started this coming up with a topic. We don't stay with it the whole time. It kind of evolved, but that's cool. Good job.
Yeah, and like I mentioned before, if anyone wants to like chat about something or wants us to have a conversation about something, put it in the chat and we'll
Yep.
bring it up and we'll
Yep.
have the conversation. I think that
Yep.
that's important, you know.
Definitely. And again, one more time, your full. Is that your website there? Did Johanna get add?
Oh, at Bay Lifestyle PR, that's my Instagram. My website is bay-lifestyle.com.
Okay, and your phone number one more time. Did you like giving me out?
815-501-5070.
Good. So if anybody wanted to, and she Johanna has no working hours. She works whenever. So
Yeah.
very cool. All right, great
Saturday,
job.
Sunday, that doesn't exist in my life.
That was a fantastic show. Seriously, I'm glad we did that. A lot of interesting topics. Let's keep that going. So we'll see. We'll keep going every other week. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Everybody have a fantastic time. And again, here with the 988 hotline and suicide prevention line. Let's all make sure we're taking care of each other out
Yeah.
there. All right. All right. Puerto Rican princess. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.